play heating up. And here in Winston-Salem, one of the best programs in the country, Miami Hurricanes, 13-1, red hot. Wake Forest, they went 5 against Florida State Friday night. Both programs looking for an impressive ACC win as we kick off week 2 of the regular season. Here's where we sit in the conference. 6 ranked teams in this loaded league. 5 undefeateds remain with no losses on the calendar. Wake Forest, meanwhile, right in the thick of things at 1-2 overall. And Miami, they're playing some great volleyball. No sets lost early in ACC play. Welcome into Varsity Arena with Amanda Poole. I'm Evan Budrovich. This Miami team is loaded with outside hitters, a ton of talent. Wake, a great 5-setter against Florida State Friday. How do we see their best volleyball today?
Well, head coach Jeff Holzmeyer telling us this week they want to focus on what causes winning, and why they took those 2 sets against FSU was the blocking. The Deeks putting up their second highest block total with 14 shutdowns at the net, something they'll look to build off of today.
Miami has a senior All-American candidate in Flor Marie Heredia-Cologne. What makes this pin hitter special?
Well, you don't stop her, Evan. You can only try to contain her. 17 kills on 39 total attacks, just 5 errors, hitting a 308 on Friday. She leads the nation in points per set because of her ability to make the most of every play. Front row, back row, and sits top 6 in the nation behind the service line. Now, someone for Wake Forest who will try to slow down Heredia-Cologne is going to be Sana Williams, the redshirt junior middle blocker, a career high performance on Friday, 10 blocks in the 5-setter. She sits top 25 in blocks per set in the ACC, and Coach Holzmeyer telling us Williams, when she locks in and focuses on her area, she is phenomenal. She'll need to do that again today to slow down the Canes, who are riding a 15-set win streak today.
Begins with an ace, and that's an area Miami leads the country in aces per set. Right off to a good start here on Sunday.
First contact is always so important in this game of volleyball, but it's going to be very emphasized today for Wake Forest, as this Miami team is very aggressive from behind that service line, and they set the tone right away.
Olivia Durst with her 4th ace of the year. Miami double-figure aces at NC State Friday in an impressive sweep. Now Paige Crawford gets her first swing, fresh off a double-figure night Friday, and her first kill in this matchup. Crawford now in the top 10 in Wake career history, so effective from that left side.
And I think she's also really shined when she's had these new players around her too. You know, Riley Whitekettle leading in kills on Friday night, taking the pressure off of Paige Crawford to play a little bit more free, and we're seeing that this season. Over
3 kills per set for Paige. And here's Becca Bellows, part of that 2-setter offense for Jeff Holzmeyer. Targets Heredia-Cologne on serve. The nation's leader in points. Blasts one towards Farrell. That'll be a fun matchup today. And a touch kill for Wake at the net. That's Whitekettle, the transfer to Mexico State.
Riley Whitekettle, so much volleyball under her belt. Her body's taken some of that wear and tear, but she fights through it. Very smart play.
And Holzmeyer noted her performance Friday, hitting 360. That kept Wake in the match through 5. Came down to a final 2 points on Friday night. Florida State without its top pin hitter, but finds a way to win. Wake, meanwhile, largely healthy entering this match, and a dump from Ariana Rodriguez, the 3-time setter of the week in this conference. Her vision is next level here in the ACC.
I don't know how she does it. Got eyes on the side of her head, being able to see the court on the other side and knowing when to be aggressive and when to hold back.
Dahlia Wilson, the all-conference middle to serve. Rodriguez, last year's 2nd team all-conference behind Cammie Minor at Stanford. She's even better this year at 11 assists. And if Miami's going to make that jump from a 2nd round to a Sweet 16 to a Final Four that we saw Pitt and Louisville do, they'll need Rodriguez to anchor this attack.
Yeah, not only facilitating, but being able to produce points. Obviously, they have their outside, but they need some balanced attacks.
Right now, the top offense in the ACC through 2 weeks of conference. There's Rodriguez teeing up Cologne. Bellows will go to Crawford, her top pin hitter. What a save by Legata, and Farrell can't get to it. 2 early kills for Heredia-Cologne.
Heredia-Cologne does a nice job of looking at those high hands on that outside block, right off those fingertips. Out of reach for Wake Forest, and out of reach for Emma Farrell is going to be hard to do.
She's 3rd in digs in this conference, Farrell, and is everywhere in her 4-year career.
Yeah, she's a libero that makes the scouting report.
Here's a quick slide for the Deacons. That's picked up, and Legata again with back row effort. First-year transfer setting up Crawford. How vital is it for Wake to feed Crawford early in this match?
Oh, extremely vital, because then they're going to draw the blockers to Crawford throughout this first set and then be able to open up their other positions, right? You've got that White Kettle swing on the right side that they like to go to.
A note for Crawford, last 2 matchups with Miami, she's hit above 300. 17 kills in both those games. A 4-set loss on the road and a 3-set win at home as a sophomore. Now Waken's system through Bellows. Feeds White Kettle, the 6'5" transfer with a nice swing.
Something that Coach Holzmeyer talked about when talking about White Kettle is the level of physicality that she can bring to this team, and we're seeing it right now from the right side. A great rip on that outside edge.
Her ability to stretch the court for Wake, so important. Crawford and White Kettle with 2 early kills, and a service error gives it right back. Holzmeyer noted Friday his serving was aggressive, but he needs even more aggressive serving against the best serving team in the country, Miami.
Yeah, you want to try to get them out of system as much as you can. Target Heredia Colon. You don't want her to have a full approach.
And Rodriguez does that work right there. 3rd in aces in the country. That lefty is fantastic, but Wake was out of system on serve receive. They were in the wrong rotation. That's the easiest ace of Ariana's life.
Rodriguez with that amazing top spin. It's really hard to keep that efficient, but she does a nice job.
Coach Holzmeyer with a quick laugh, clarifying the rotation error. And here's Ariana, 36 aces. A jump serve of beauty, testing Farrell. Everyone's swinging hard. White Kettle with a downline shot to the libero Feliciano. And there's Farrell again. Flipping brunch here on Sunday. Another effort, Rodriguez. Heredia Colon off hands and in. The All-American shines for her 2nd kill.
Emma Farrell trying to keep this rally alive for the Demon Deke. It's an amazing dig, but it's going to be Miami that can close it out. No one else.
Egg sunny side up. You can't get it past Emma Farrell. She's now inched into 3rd all-time in digs history at Wake. Need 400 more for the program record. The way this first set has gone, she might get there at some point today. All jokes aside, a hitting error for Wake. Miami a 4-point lead. But it is for Wake a team that is defensive-minded, and Farrell can cover so much ground to neutralize these big hitters.
And Coach Holzmeyer wants her to, right? She wants to be stealing passes, stealing serves, because she's the best.
Rodriguez anchoring this service run. Off the tape, and that's when you know the aces are rolling. 2nd for Rodriguez.
Normally it's that home court advantage that gives you that tape touch, but that time, that power just willing itself over the net.
Top 5 in aces and assists in the country. No one doing it better right now from the setting position than Rodriguez. The New York native, already a 3-time setter of the week in this league. You might want to pencil in a 4th if this effort continues. Testing Crawford, and that's another ace. What a run, 6 straight points for Miami, and Holzmeyer needs a timeout. So we're going to step aside. Miami doing what they do best, serving the volleyball. Yet to drop a set in league play. Up 6 here early in Winston. serve and pass goes a long way in college volleyball, and no one doing it better in the country than Miami. And how about in this 6-point run, Amanda? 5 aces on serve.
Yeah, and it's led by one of the best in the nation, right, with Rodriguez. That top spin is so dangerous. It is so hard to control and absorb the power from her serve. Emma Farrell, the only one to do it so far today.
That's why Miami's been special. 13-1, their best start in over 10 years. And with Pitt and SMU coming up this week, a huge test for Miami here in Winston before a top 10 battle. Here's an overpass. And Wake, the illegal back row touch. So again, it's not an ace, but it's great serving, causing trouble here for Wake Forest.
And that's such a strong point to make too, right? When you have those, it's not an ace, but it affects the efficiency of your opponent's offense. And that's what really gets their opponents out of system.
2.5 aces a set. That was the special sauce for SMU last year. Natalie Foster, an elite server. That's how the Mustangs went from an out of 25 team to hosting 2 regionals. They were a top 10 team by year's end. All about the serve. Look at Farrell saving another great serve, but Whitekettle misses long. No hands at the net. I love the effort there on both ends.
Emma Farrell again having success against that top spin, but Whitekettle just shy of that back baseline.
Emma Farrell is Crash from the Progressive commercial, right? You just throw things in the street and see all the chaos happen. Farrell is saving everything. Can her team help her out? There's a net violation ending an 8-point run. Wake
Forest taking a sigh of relief there. They're able to side out thanks to a Miami mistake.
Sanaa Williams so good at the net on Friday. 10 total blocks and hitting over 400 in league play. Let's see how her service unfolds. First attack down line. Mushka Diarra has come in. Miriam Mushka Diarra with Ava Carney out today, the former Demon Deacon. That's an important piece of the pin hitting position.
Well, she had a great showing on Friday against NC State. Played all 3 sets, had 4 kills, just 1 error, hit a 250, had a block, a dig. She was able to really get involved in her playtime.
We talked about Rodriguez's serving. Flo is 5th in the country in aces. No stopping Whitekettle. Wake living on that right side early, Amanda.
They know Whitekettle can bring that level of physicality, bring that strong arm down, and when you get a good pass like you did, you're able to bring down the hammer, take some of that open net on the right side. Great pass from the back row, sets up Whitekettle with a one-on-one situation. Whitekettle takes advantage.
Ryan Baker on service. Last year, Wake had Sahara Maruska, who was 5'6", 5'7" at the right. They emphasized size on that right side. Whitekettle 6'5", such an addition. No stopping the back row attack of Miami here early. Very balanced for the Hurricanes. Heredia Colon with her 3rd.
I'm a big fan of the back row attack because it can bring so much power. Heredia Colon with a big wind-up back row. That quick set, blockers unable to get there.
Georgia Tech's made a living in this conference out of the back row, and Miami noted that, judging and studying how great players over the years could play out of the back. He wants to feed Colon more as a senior, and it's paying off with a 7-point lead.
It's really hard for opposing blockers to read that back row attack because you don't know where that ball is going. They have a wider range to where they can put it.
Touching on that South American style, the Brazilian coming forward. Mariana Brambilla was fantastic for Georgia Tech. She kind of anchored that in this ACC. Colon doing her part today. And there's Dahlia Wilson in the middle, her first touch. One of the block leaders of the conference joining in with Mushka Diarra in the front row. When you look at the nuggets from Miami, there's not much. The Hurricanes aren't the top 10 in the country. Serving, hitting percentage, blocking, and opponent hit percentage. This is a dynamic team at 13-1. Lone loss in 5 in the opener against Indiana. Good hands for Wake with Sadie Peck coming in, but can't stop the play at the net. Rodriguez with the kill.
And Sadie Peck has been a bright spot for this Demon Deacons team, stepping up, being able to have some quality attempts and attacks, and then also that defensive front.
Good float serve from Jasmine Vergara. Into the block, and Rodriguez is doing it all. 5 aces and a couple blocks for the setter.
Such a luxury to have a setter that can do it all. Look at the tracking, the reading, both blockers in sync, shutting down that edge.
Even Dahlia Wilson's like, hey, I'm a top 10 blocker of the country. I'm watching my setter get fed all day long one-on-one. Impressive from Ariana as she back sets the back row. Nice dig from Legita. Heredia Colon off hands. And Wake in this rotation, no offensive swing, so Miami teeing off from the right side. That time it's Amina Njai, the Orlando, Florida product.
Miami handling Wake Forest block pretty easily right now. Great coverage from the defense, allowing them to get another offensive attack.
Peck's first swing, tooling the block. That's what Wake needs from the right side. 5 of their 8 points from the right.
They've been really keying in on that side, able to not only use the block to their advantage with the tools, but able to power through it and find the seam.
Anya Sandtrack has also come in the front row for Wake. Here's a service error, giving it right back to Miami in a dominant first set. Remember, the Hurricanes have swept everybody in their league schedule. Georgia Tech, a top 25 team. Of course, Clemson and then NC State Friday. No set went more than 21 points in that match. It was a clean sweep. Back into Heredia Colon, and she can block it as well. Nothing like a 6-point first set for the nation's leader in points. And a timeout here for Jeff Holzmeyer. So if you're Coach Keno, Jose Gandara, 13 years at Miami, this club's had success, right? 3 straight trips to the second round. Amanda, it feels like with the balance and the strength of this team, they have an ability to go deeper than what we've seen in the past.
And it's interesting because of the newcomers, right? They still have a mix of new faces, but Keno's saying that it's been great having those returners as leaders to be able to bring along those newcomers and new faces, not only just telling them what to do, but showing them how to do it and being leaders by example.
3 blocks, 5 aces in 1 set. You couldn't have drawn up a better start for Miami, who, I mean, that nugget's insane. Just 9 sets dropped all year.
They're efficient. They're very efficient, taking advantage of everything, any weakness the opponent has, everything they do well. They take advantage of every attack, every attempt.
That's why Miami's rolling right now at 13-1. Meanwhile, for Jeff Holzmeyer, very pleased with his team's effort Friday in a 5-set loss. Now for Wake, he noted we need more sets on the court. Hey, how do you build off this set and get ready for set 2?
Against Miami, you just have to try to contain them a little better and stay aggressive from the service line. Have better passes. That first contact, so important to be able to set up your offense because they've had some solid swings. White Kettle making some noise on the right side. We saw Paige Crawford get going to start this set. They have to learn how to respond and make those adjustments.
Holzmeyer in his career very familiar with this rivalry between Miami and Florida State with his decade with Chris Poole. Now here in Winston-Salem, a much tougher task so far. Amina Njai in to serve. Baker from the 10-foot line has to back set Sadie Peck. Good effort by Feliciano, the libero. And then Heredia Colon flies onto your screen. 4 kills, and that's her best of the night.
Heredia Colon does such a nice job of being ready to make that swing and reading the block, cutting inside, out of Emma Farrell's reach.
The product of Santo Domingo, Heredia Colon representing her country so well. Here is a senior, the former All-American. Those hit percentage numbers are gaudy in the 400s. And Wake is looking for some good offense. There's Peck again with her second point.
Miami at the line, at the net, going back and forth a little late to that outside block, and Peck taking full advantage again.
So Paige Crawford remains out in this rotation to close set 1. Some fresh faces in the front row. And now Becca Bellows, the Wheaton, Illinois product, in to serve. Wilson on the slide, and she beats the defense of Wake. Miami's hitting .500 here in set 1.
They have not been able to get slowed down by this Wake Forest serve that has found success early on in conference play with their aggressive serving, but Miami doing a nice job of handling it, and Heredia Colon doing a great job of passing. She does it all.
There's Dahlia Wilson, the blocking leader in the ACC so far. 6'4" senior out of Turkey. Turkey, my apologies. Oh, unloaded. Heredia Colon gets the free ball. She's got 5 quick kills.
An overpass, way too easy for Heredia Colon. Just foaming at the mouth when you see this one coming over. able to get a nice approach on this. Reaches up, brings down the hammer.
Paige Crawford comes back in with Wake needing points. Miami 2 from the set. Bellows bumps one to Crawford. Miami yet to hit a hitting error in this set, and that'll continue with hands at the net. Set point Hurricanes. Keno Kandara could not have drawn up a better start here in set one. Without Ava Carney, the former Demon Deacon, she's out via injury. The rest of this rotation's filled in quite well. And Crawford continues to set for Wake. There's her third kill.
It's no surprise the spark for this Wake Forest offense comes from Paige Crawford. So much experience under her belt, and she keeps trying to unlock her game. Coach Holzmeier is saying that she's jumped the highest she's ever jumped this season. So she is in the lab trying to get better.
Set point 2 here for Crawford. Miami playing in system the entire set. What a save by Emma Farrell. And then Crawford continues set one. Well, it's all anchored by the defense of the libero.
My view of the court right now, Emma Farrell was not there. That ball was going to drop down in the open court. And Emma Farrell just comes sliding in with the save. A great reach, just extending her entire body to help extend that rally.
Farrell serving up treats. 5 digs in the set, but a service error terminates set one. Miami was nearly perfect in that set. 5 aces, no hitting errors, and a dominant 25-11 set one win. When we come back, we'll roll into set 2. Wake and Miami battling it for the 35th time in program history when we come back. Welcome back to Winston-Salem. An impressive first set for 22nd ranked Miami, and coach Keno Kandara very pleased with his team hitting nearly 500 in that first set. And this isn't just one performance, Amanda. Nationally speaking, Miami is so good on the service line. They block it at the elite level. And these numbers impressive. What's the most staggering part of Miami's success this year?
Obviously, the aces stick out because they lead the nation. But I think when you look at that opponent hitting percentage, right, they have an amazing offense, and to go right along with it, an amazing defense, holding opponents to a 153, and they did that. That was on full display here in set one against Wake Forest.
We saw it last year. Pittsburgh was the team that led these stats up and down the country, made a Final Four run under Coach Dan Hughes, and Here's Coach Gandara, 13 years in Miami. He's had a lot of good teams. He said this could be our best if we stay healthy by year's end.
Yeah, it was great talking to him. Very, very nice guy. Just speaks so highly about his team. Despite some newcomers, he feels very strongly and confident in the way the team has been able to come together this season.
Miami's got a huge week coming up with Pitt and SMU in Coral Gables before heading to Stanford next week. That's 3 ranked matchups in a short span. Meanwhile, for Wake, they led on Crawford in set 1. She was efficient, but didn't play a ton of rotations in that first set.
I think Crawford's serve receiving kind of took her out of that game a little bit. They need a better pass to give them a chance to set up a decent offense against this Miami group.
Everyone having fun, including Neilani Feliciano back there, who noted she's a big baker. She likes to make cookies and treats for her team every weekend.
Ooh.
I don't know what she brought from Miami up here, but I'll definitely join in postgame if there's any good treats. A first set dominated by Miami's service. Now as we get players in line here in set 2. Becca Bellows to serve, rotating in back and forth with Ryan Baker here in this 2-set offense for Coach Holzmeyer. And there's a good service for Wake to open the set.
Becca Bellows leads this Wake Forest team with 20 service aces headed into this match, adds on another.
Baker targets Feliciano. Wilson on the slide at 6'4" is untouchable, and that goes out of play.
I think you could tell that was the game plan. You get a good pass, give it to Wilson on the slide.
It's intimate here in Varsity Arena. There are some places you can't get to, including up above that high scores table. Bellows goes middle, and Whitekettle terminates. Nice in-system play.
Becca Bellows with the one-handed set. Perfect timing for Riley Whitekettle. Up at the same time, nice swing right around the middle block. It's a great response from the Demon Deacons.
In the 2 sets, Wake Forest won on Friday night. They hit above 260, so that's the formula. Playing in system, playing balanced. Here's Crawford, their top server. Rodriguez the dump, greatly read by Farrell. No fooling the All-American candidate, but Crawford into the net. That is an area Holzmeyer wants to feed Crawford more in different spots on the court.
Well, that's been the biggest thing of increasing her range, the diversity in her offensive production, being able to attack from different areas on the court, something she's capable of, but it's a matter of finding that connection with the setters and starting out with that great pass.
So Rodriguez, who anchors that kill, back to serve. She had 5 aces in set 1. You don't hear that in an NCAA match. Legita shoots one long and a hitting arrow for Wake. And again, it's Rodriguez keeping Wake Forest out of system. Nearing 40 total aces for Ariana this year. She's been a nightmare for opponents. 3 more aces on Friday at NC State. Hits the tape that time.
It's also that lefty look, too, that can be kind of hard to track, too. Coming down with her left arm on the serve, I think that confuses hitters. Obviously, when you're a left-handed hitter, it's hard to block and dig up that ball. But the lefty serve, too, another twist.
Sanaa Williams and Wake Forest on serve, the Mississippi State transfer, will shine with her physicality at the net. Rodriguez back sets Heredia Colon and keeps it in play. Another point for Miami and a touch of the net as well.
That is so hard to do. Find that line over the blocker, deep in that zone 5.
Heredia Colon played for a Dominican national team this summer, really shine in the international play.
Talk about staying in shape in the offseason and staying locked in.
And has come back even stronger. 6 points a set to lead the country. Miami wanting a hitting error here. Instead, play continues. Legita down line keeps it in play. Well done. And Miami might challenge if that was a lift on the previous contact.
Yeah, Rodriguez almost stopped playing in that rally.
Coach Gandara keeping his challenge card handy. Let's see if he uses it. You get 2 challenges. If the match goes 5, each team earns a bonus challenge. Now our assistant referee conferring with our lead ref. We'll take a look.
Yeah, immediately Rodriguez is calling a lift. Almost didn't take that second ball, thinking the ref was going to call it.
Suzanne Dodd, our lead referee. And then there's Del Rosa Hughes having a chat about that call at the net. And that's what's being explained here by Suzanne. Remember, the setter at the time was in the back row, so there's different rules about the height of the net, where you can play balls over the net. There could be a lot of different things that a challenge is here. And now a challenge is in place. Or you know what? No challenge. That's where you got to pull out the NCAA rulebook and start turning the pages and find the subsections. Coach Gandara knows his team was so impressive in set one. He's going to let them play through this. We'll bookmark that one. It's now 4-4 here in the first, with Baker back to serve. That's in. Heredia Colon does it again. 8 kills.
I love the way her teammates hype her up too. You saw Rodriguez putting her finger down, nodding her head, saying that's in. They hype each other up too, and they have a nice response after that weird call.
17 kills in 3 sets Friday. About as efficient as you can get from an outside hitter. Here's a great serve and another ace for Miami. 6 as a team, and Feliciano gets her first. Leilani Feliciano in this service unit, they've been excellent. Make it wake play, scramble drill, much of the first set. Excellent dig. And Njai gets hands, another point for the Hurricanes, up 7-4. How for Wake do you shift this, you change it, play better on serve receive?
Well, Coach Holzmeyer told us earlier this season that it's poco a poco, little by little, and I think you just focus on the next serve, and I know that's coaches speak, but you have to, because if you just keep looking at the score, it starts to become a mental battle. As
Legita gets targeted, another ace here for Miami. We saw Crawford get a bulk load of the service in set 1. The Hurricanes are picking their poison in the back row. Feliciano's 3rd straight serve goes to Legita. She takes a whack at it, well defended by Rodriguez. And then Njai into the block. So Legita helps her own cause with a roof.
Legita able to pass that ball up, get off her attack, get Miami a little out of system. Be able to come up there with a big block. Now Legita didn't start practicing with Wake Forest until August. They kind of had to give her a crash course. And so she's slowly just been getting better and better in conference play, the Chicago State transfer.
Also playing for her home country of Poland over the summer. All in the gear up toward the Olympic Games in Los Angeles.
So weird. It's going to be in LA.
Oh, I'm ready. I got a place to stay just in case. There's a dig by Farrell. And then Crawford uncorks one from the right side. Great swing from the senior.
That's the Paige Crawford Wake Forest knows and loves. Being able to get creative around that block, bring it down hard with a nice rip. We'll take another look because we like to. A tough pass. And a nice quick approach from Crawford.
Another kill on the right side here for Miami. There's the depth. Mushka Diarra, who's come in for Ava Carney, the former all-freshman standout at Wake.
you've got to be pleased if you're Keno, knowing that you can have these young guns come in and make an impact immediately, giving you some hope for that depth when it comes to that postseason run if they want.
Especially in the 5-1, having a quick right side that can make things happen on a couple of key points. Here's another service error from Miami, cutting it to 9-7. An area of strength last season for Wake was their serving. Top half of the league at the service line. Look to build on it here with Emma Farrell. Wilson on the slide, hits a noggin, kept in play. Njai off hands, and Miami has just one hitting error this entire match. Impressive offensively. It's like watching a pitcher pitch a perfect game. No one's making a mistake if you're Miami swinging so far. It's a tough serve receive for Lalaji in the back row. Rodriguez pumps Heredia Colon, and that's short of the net. Well, the broadcaster jinx is back in there.
Heredia Colon trying to do that nice cross-court cut into zone 4, a dead area on the other side of the net. That's what's so cool about Heredia Colon, though, is that as an outside, you get so many attacks, so many touches, because you get fed whether you're in system or out of system, but she actually does make the most. She's pretty efficient for getting that many touches.
Already has 15 swings today. And then Wilson tests Bellows at the net, and a miscommunication from Wake. Both middle staring at each other, and the ball hits the court.
Great dig by Bellows, but just standing around looking at each other while the ball drops between.
That goes back to Holzmeyer's point. We need more sets. We need more matches. Well, it's a similar rotation. Some new pieces in the front row, and there's another ace for Miami. 8 of them.
They're going to continue to attack Paige Crawford. She really struggled with the serve receive right now.
9th ace of the year for Dahlia. Right back to Crawford. That's where Paige can be special down line. Good save in the back row. Bellows goes middle. And a net touch against Miami. So Wake hanging around here in set 2, Amanda.
Making the most of their ability to get a good set going.
That was Olivia Durst who touched the net. Rotational piece. And now here's Wake's knight in shining armor, Paige Crawford. Heredia Colon. Look at Farrell to the back row. Legita the roll shot, and Durst comes sliding in. Tough touch on the net, and Wake wins it. A joust to the Deacons.
Wow, what a play from Whitekettle and Williams up there at the net. Double teaming to get Miami off guard.
Wake Forest winning the scrappy points today. Some of those points they won on Friday night against Florida State in a 5-set loss. After Miami rolled in set 1, 25-11. And a net touch against Wake Forest. That was Williams into the net. And we noted her blocking will have to be vital for Wake today.
Yeah, right. Wake Forest with 14 blocks on Friday. 10 of those coming from Williams. She was the workhorse for them on Friday night. They're going to need to see that again. They want to slow down this Miami offense.
In the win at Duke, Williams had 5 blocking errors, right? Pressing early, making mistakes. Good adjustment Friday night. You noted her success against Florida State. Wake will need that presence defensively, and then Whitekettle tools the block. She's got 5 kills.
Between Whitekettle and Peck, they've done a nice job of reading that right side block, trying to tool it off because they haven't been able to punch it through, but you can use those hands to your advantage.
4 different players with multiple kills for Wake. That's a balance Coach Holzmeier would like to see. How about Durst to the floor and another ace. Second of the set for the Deacons. So now Williams continues on the service line. Durst having a fight for it, and that's into the net. Well, here's Wake Forest flipping the script in set 2.
They had no aces in set 1. The Demon Deacons now with a couple, able to slow down Miami, build some momentum, something they did not have in set 1.
Returning the favor to the nation's leader in aces. Williams with another good serve. And Heredia Cologne quiets the rally. 10 kills, and we're only in set 2.
Feliciano with a great pass. Heredia Cologne just putting the bow on it.
One-on-one, there's no stopping this All-American candidate, Heredia Cologne. Monstrous serve against Crawford. Whitekettle tees up and beats the Miami defense. Well, after Miami served their hearts out in set 1, some adjustments here from Wake defensively.
Even if it's not a perfect pass, Wake Forest has done a nice job of being able to make something out of that out-of-system set.
Ryan Baker in our race to 15. How about Wilson with the deke, and then Njai puts it away. Great distribution from Rodriguez and a timeout on the court. Back and forth here in set 2. Miami dominated the service line. Erie. Wake has responded as of late. We'll wrap up set 2 when we return. Welcome back to Winston, first year of the Jeff Holzmeyer era here at Winston-Salem, and a signature win in Durham last Sunday. A fun battle on Friday night, and Amanda, so far, it's been their offense carrying the load for the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, they've been able to put together some great offense, finding their rhythm. It's interesting, Coach Holzmeyer talking to us this season about how they were, in the beginning of the season, they were really good. They were really consistent at being inconsistent. They'd have really, really great volleyball one set and then really, lost kind of in the next set. Now it's about putting those pieces together, and we're seeing that right now on display here in set 2. They've been able to adjust since those set 1 mistakes.
Riley Whitekettle's helped the cause with 6 kills to lead Wake, and Heredia Cologne has 10 early points for Miami. She's in the back row on this rotation. And hands at the net. Miami jumps in front by 2. All that pressure it's forced on the Wake defense, some blocking errors and some net violations for Wake Forest, who had double-digit blocks Friday. So Baker tees up Legita, and her drop shot finds the middle of the campfire.
This is going to be so important today for Wake Forest, not just about how hard you can hit it, but the placement. We haven't seen a lot of tips. They've been just trying to power through this block, but now Legita jumping in, being creative with her shot selection.
Wake in that win against Duke had balance, 3 in double figures. They really dominated Duke after that first set. Looking to replicate it for a second ACC win. Here's Drew Lalagi, her first appearance on the service line. Good hands from Crawford. Njai off hands again. This is dangerous into the net, and Wake's defense causing havoc.
That's a nice job by Paige Crawford on the block. Blocking, not her strong suit, something she's been working to get better at, being that she's in all the time. You want to be able to have some coverage on that net.
Factor in Khalees Hawkins, her 6'3" hands coming in, the California freshman, who can't get to that ball, but tunnels it to Farrell, who almost gets a second dig. Nice kill for Dahlia Wilson. That's an important matchup. All ACC candidate Wilson versus a young Hawkins. Wakes, who lived in the grad portal the last 2 years with their starting middles. Bringing in the freshman Hawkins, who had 9 kills Friday. Peck down line, Feliciano, great save. Oh, there's Hawkins at the net. The freshman joining the roof party.
Now that's the Hawkins we saw against FSU, shutting down the big plays. Talk about a momentum swinging defensive stop here from Hawkins. The freshman, a natural knack for blocking, shutting down the big play.
Erica Sayer of Stanford, another all-conference middle. She's been the 2-time freshman of the week. If Wake gets this kind of blocking today, Amanda, they're in business. 4th block of the set.
0 blocks in set 1, and we saw how that one went. Now you've got 4 blocks shutting down big plays against Miami in set 2. Momentum shifts when your defense is rolling.
Double-digit blocks was the anchor Friday. It's playing a factor here in set 2. Rodriguez goes to the slide. Good recovery from Wake. Here's Crawford. 1v1, and Crawford, she's heating up, 6 kills.
Wake Forest finding its command right now. The defense bleeding into offense. Paige Crawford chipping one in.
After Miami played near perfect volleyball in set 1, it's Wake with good service and then hitting better in rotation here in set 2.
We talked about Holzmeier saying, you know, the inconsistency. Now they're finding that consistency, finding that rhythm on offense. It starts with the better passing. Paige Crawford has adjusted her serve receive, finding her setter, setting them up. But it's the blocking, right? Those big, loud plays. Hawkins getting involved, able to slow down this Miami offense, taking some heat off those swings.
Keep in mind, Miami's yet to lose a set through 4 league matches. And that flip defensively has been a big part of the reason why Wake's up 2.
Well, it's interesting against FSU. Wake Forest, the last 7 times they played FSU, they weren't able to steal a set, and they took 2 on Friday night. So you can tell this team is different than teams we've seen in years past. Coach Holzmeier saying this Wake Forest team might look a little bit more like FSU these days with how aggressive they can be.
It was the Skywalker Obi-Wan Kenobi matchup of Poole and Holzmeier Friday night. A little different this time with their arch rivals of Florida State days here in Miami. That's been the question. Who can stop the Hurricanes in conference play? Rolled through Georgia Tech, and we know how good the Yellow Jackets have been over the years. And then 3 straight sweeps to follow that. A little bit of a test here in set 2. Service errors have been the bugaboo for Miami early. And now Emma Farrell, the senior DS standout, serving here for Wake. Rodriguez goes middle. Farrell all over it. Now Miami having to play a little out of system. Feliciano to Njai. And Farrell in the double-figure dig column already. Wilson on the slide. Lalaji touches. Crawford off hands, and Wake winning a long rally.
It's a great job by Wake Forest, able to hang in that rally thanks to some great defense by Lalaji, slipping through the block.
Those are the scrappy plays that make Wake dangerous. This is a team that was picked 12th in the preseason. They've already beaten Duke. They're playing tough here in set 2. So Cologne tips. And that finds the floor. Well done. 11 kills for Heredia Cologne.
Heredia Cologne, we haven't seen that tip from the back row. We've seen that power arm from the back row. So she took advantage of a low set, trying to figure out that timing to tip it over, find that donut in the middle of the court, that empty spot.
Oh, don't have me thinking about donuts on a Sunday. We had Farrell digging up pancakes in the morning. Everybody's getting me on my brunch mindset. There's a service error for Njai. Wake 4 points in the set.
You said it, Evan. Those service errors have been a little costly right now for Miami. Unable to string a couple points together to pull a run.
Olivia Durst back in defensively in this rotation for Miami. And here's Becca Bellows. It's her service turn up front. Rodriguez from the 10. Goes to her best option. Heredia Colon doing it once again. 12 kills. There's no such thing as an automatic point, but if Heredia Colon is in system with a great shot, she's going to put it away. Leads the nation in points per set. Tough run for Bellows. And Crawford tees off. Back and forth, these pin hitters go.
Crawford is doing a great job of taking advantage of that inside block. A great cut from Crawford. That just shows her experience, right? Having that IQ, working around that block and keeping that swing in bounds.
Crawford's played some of her best volleyball against Miami the last 2 years. Here she is, 3 points from set 2. And Heredia Colon goes over the double. Nice save by Farrell. Whitekettle into the net, and it's a block for the Hurricanes. Who now can flex their strength, the service line, where Rodriguez had those 3 impressive aces early in set 1.
That top spin so powerful. It's about absorbing it.
Farrell takes the heat. Legita on the run. Does not get hands. Legita thought she did. And Holzmeyer might challenge this.
Yeah, all of Wake Forest thought she got the touch too. A slight celebration.
And instead, a timeout. So it's a 1-point lead for Wake. Holzmeyer will talk it over. And this feels like, if you're Wake Forest, a make or break set, because we do want to take a look at this one more time.
Legita coming in high.
If anything, it's front row only.
I don't see a touch, but...
And that's why Jeff Wisely used the timeout. But if you're Wake Forest, Amanda, what must you do to get these next 3 points and close out the set?
Well, right now you're going up against one of the nation's best servers, so you want to get a decent pass right away so you can have your best shot at an offense. I think you want to side out as quickly as possible, not let Miami string a couple points together and build momentum. Maybe start out with a big block. That worked for them in the beginning of this set to be able to build momentum.
The Wake Forest team searching for a signature win. They have a stretch of ranked opponents coming up, with Georgia Tech in town in 2 weeks and then SMU on the docket to end October. Here with a 1-point lead, Wake, you noted, will have to stop one of the best teams and one of the best rotations on service right here. Coach Gandara's club, who's yet to lose a set. You have to go all the way back to September 18th, the last time they dropped a set. That was in a 3-1 win over Coastal.
That Coastal Carolina team is really good.
They went into Raleigh and beat the Wolfpack as well, no doubt. But here in Winston-Salem, critical juncture late in set 2. Ariana Rodriguez continues to serve. Hits it in. Well done with a topspin.
You talk about that floater that can drop at any time, but that topspin just curves down so quickly, even if it looks like it's going out, so misleading.
Top 3 in the country in serving, Ariana Rodriguez. And she was celebrating. Well done with that ace. What does she have dialed up here? Another blast to Farrell. Crawford saves it, and it's an ace. Miami on the doorstep of set 2.
An ace against Emma Farrell is a feather in your hat, because Emma Farrell is so good at absorbing that power, but this topspin, another monster.
Timeout, Wake Forest. Ariana Rodriguez, what a weapon from the service line today. 5 aces now for Ariana. And those 2 points, and that could change the whole match, not just this set.
Yeah, once you hit that 20-point mark in the set, it does seem like that's crunch time, right? And that's when you kind of learn the most about your team, is how you respond when you're down in those moments. And Miami not having lost very much, this is a chance where Keith Keno can learn a little bit about his team and how they respond in situations like this.
since Miami continues to serve the ball well, it's worth noting these are updated stats. Tops in the country. They're at a 5-set per ace pace right now, which is unheard of in volleyball, right? And I mean, it hasn't been just a one-hit wonder. It's all year different players stepping up and serving well.
Yeah, it's not just Rodriguez. Obviously, she's the centerpiece behind that service line, but they have everybody that can do it, and their ratio is great, right? Obviously, they're going to have those service errors because they serve so aggressively, but I think Keno's happy with their ratio where they have more aces than errors.
So Wake coming out of this timeout have bled a 4-point swing. Miami has come out firing from the service line. And for a young program like Wake Forest, this is a make or break set in terms of can they push this forward? Can they keep this match within striking distance? A lot of questions to be asked of Holzmeier's Wake Forest club right here. Rodriguez, the floor is yours here in Varsity Arena. Another rocket to Farrell. Well received. Legita roofed in play. Great hands by the outside of Miami. There's the sophomore, Logan Wiley.
Logan Wiley, the Georgia Tech transfer, obviously knows the level of play required for the ACC. Steps up, makes the big shutdown.
How about this service run for Miami? Set point in the second. Whitekettle continues the set. Great swing on the back row.
The right side has been successful against Miami. Riley Whitekettle doing a nice job of bringing that power. Not as efficient as Coach Holzmeier would like to see, but she can come up big with points right now.
24-23. Critical juncture in set two. Here's Sanaa Williams. Heredia Cologne terminates set two. The beast of the ACC. 7 kills a set early in this match. And Miami, a 2-set lead.
They have not been able to slow down Heredia Cologne, something that was going to be key to the victory tonight. And wow, Miami responding despite being down late in set two.
We'll take the timeout. Little mini break coming up. Miami responds to Wake Forest push in set two. Hurricanes rolling here on a Sunday in the ACC. Welcome back to Winston-Salem. Miami remains unblemished in ACC play, yet to drop a set, but a highly competitive 25-23 in set 2. So we're 2 weeks in to ACC play. A lot of things have happened in the conference so far. 5 undefeateds remaining, and a competitive match in Raleigh right now. 1-1 with NC State drawing some blood early, and there's Georgia Tech pushing Pitt. That could be a fun matchup. Georgia Tech just out of the rankings, and of course tonight, Louisville Stanford. That is a dynamic top 10 matchup in this loaded ACC conference. And of course, here in Varsity Arena, we got plenty of volleyball as well. Thanks for joining us at ACC Network Extra with Amanda Poole. I'm Evan Budrovich. Miami serving so big in those first 2 sets, 10 aces. Wake, though, found their rhythm in set 2. What's impressed you so far through 2 sets?
Well, Wake Forest did a nice job of responding in set 2, right? No blocks in set 1, no aces in set 1, and then they added some in set 2 to really challenge this Miami offense. But Miami has Heredia Cologne, and that's a big deal, as she has been consistent from the outside, from the back row, as she has been their go-to, and Wake Forest with no answer. But talking about those service aces, 5 in the first set from Miami, another 5 in set 2. They do this at a national clip, and this is why able to get themselves out of that trouble late in set 2 because of these service aces and because of Heredia Cologne. Leads the nation in points per set for a reason, makes it happen from the outside, taking advantage of a weak Wake Forest block and an overpass. Wake Forest trying to respond, and that is with their defense, something they were able to do so well against FSU in the 2 sets they took from the Seminoles, led by Hawkins and Williams, being able to shut down some big plays, silencing that Miami offense for a couple times. And then their veteran, Paige Crawford, stepping up, being that light at the end of the tunnel for this Wake Forest team, making some big plays, reading those blocks, coming up with some big kills for Miami. They're going to need her to step it up in set 3.
Early numbers in this matchup. Miami hit nearly 500 in set 1, so they came back down to earth a little bit. And you noted the 4 blocks for Wake, so big in that second set. I'll give Miami a ton of credit. They were pushed 22-19, stormed back to win the set.
And lucky for them, Rodriguez was back at the service line during that run, having one of your best servers, one of the best in the nation, to be able to carry you through 10 aces in 2 sets. Wake Forest has a challenge here in set 3.
Ariana has a chance. Now, this would be tough in a 3-set match, but 20 assists, 5 aces, could have the double-double the unconventional way.
Oh, my goodness.
With aces and assists. We'll see how it unfolds. And here's Olivia Durst, one of the complimentary defensive back row players for Miami. No Ava Carney today, the Wake Forest transfer. Played Friday, but out in this matchup. And Miami, who's yet to be slowed down in the league through 5 matchups, feeding their top outside hitter. And a quick kill for Heredia Cologne. There's 14 and counting.
And this is what's so hard about competing against a team like Miami. That was a completely out of system set. That was what you want if you're Wake Forest, but Heredia Cologne can just make it happen.
Finished 2nd in points per set in the country last year. She leads that by a mile this season. Playing even better as a senior. So Sadie Peck gets a swing and beats the one-on-one block of Heredia Cologne. That's where Wake's had an answer, Amanda, on the outside.
Yeah, Sadie Peck now with a trio of kills. Coach Holzmeyer saying that she brings a spark. She brings a lot of energy. She's used to winning. Won a lot of state championships in high school, and that's the level she expects to play. You know, that winning mindset.
As Wake continues to nurse Olivia Murphy back to full health. They need production on the right side. That's a big swing there. Any hands? Yes. A point for Miami. Not sure if Peck got it or the front row touched it. But a point there for Miami. Dahlia Wilson, the Kansas State transfer. Good service. What a back row save by Wilson, and it falls in. Wake Forest going with Legita in the back, the Chicago State transfer, who swung all over the court last year in Chicago.
It's so interesting because Chicago State got to the NCAA tournament and they lost to the unstoppable Louisville team, and that's the kind of competition that Legita said, hey, this is what I want to be able to compete against, and that's what drew her to the ACC.
There's a service ace for Crawford. Now that is the one strength of Wake at the service line. Crawford is top 10 in this league in serving. Her serve receive kept her off the court in the first set, but then played much better in set 2. Heredia Cologne, tough angle. Goes line and beats her. Wow, how did she flip her wrist like that to cut it through against Legita?
Just reading the court midair is insane, and being able to make that adjustment, throwing the block off and throwing Legita off.
Legita had no clue that cut shot was coming. She thought, okay, down line over this double. We'll see what happens. Rodriguez sitting on those 5 aces. Legita takes a blast. What a save by Crawford. And Legita goes back row. A fun battle in set 3. Bellows pushing outside. Rodriguez options. Another save for Farrell. Battle of the roll shots. Legita plays it short. Heredia Cologne finds the floor. Every long rally going Miami's way. 17 kills for Heredia Cologne.
Paige Crawford doing a phenomenal job at playing all the way around, and this is why she's able to get under that with the pancake. But it is Heredia Cologne who is able to close out this rally, and not with a hard hit swing, but just great placement, a nice roll shot.
Matching her kill total from Friday, 3-setter at NC State. Wow, Legita unloads against Feliciano.
Legita, so much power in her approach. That rip coming down hard. But it's a matter of getting creative and working around that block that time. Wide open lane.
Remember, Wake hit sub 100 in the first set. Much better in set 2. They've been efficient here in set 3. It's a good sign if you're Jeff Holzmeyer early in ACC play. A touch of the net against Miami. So Wake gets the point on the follow through of the outside hitter, Muscadiara. So now Williams, Tess Durst. Good hands. Hard to slow down Heredia Cologne too often. Feliciano flips it back in play. And here's Wake's system, up a point in the third. That's out. Another kill for Legita. And here, Amanda, they found an option on the left side.
Legita has struggled up against that block early on, but now she's figuring out a way to use it to her advantage, finding the inside lane. But this time she goes right at the high hands of Heredia Cologne, tooling off the block hard.
What a good service, and Wake gets an ace. We've talked about Miami serving all day. Wake has 5 aces.
Williams with 3 of those aces. She does a nice job behind this line, that jump floater.
That float serve on display there. Heredia Cologne doing her work, tooling the block off Khalees Williams' hands. I love the efficiency. On 30 swings, 18 kills. That's hard to replicate in the college game. She'll be tested here in ACC play. 6 ranked teams, 3 of them on the docket this month for Miami. Wow. Fastball, no chance for Crawford.
We talked about how efficient and aggressive Rodriguez is from behind the line, but that is not all this Miami team has. 4 players accounting for all of their aces so far today. They've got multiple weapons behind that line.
That's the 30th ace of Heredia Cologne's season. That's almost 31. And a nice save on the overball. Oh, too many touches. Wake Forest gives it right back. And it's all because of the serving of Miami in this set. Holzmeyer wants a timeout. We'll take it as well. Back and forth here in set 3. The Hurricanes serving, making Miami a dangerous out in Winston-Salem. We'll be back with the rest of the third after this timeout. Number 22, Miami, off to a nice start here in Winston-Salem. Tight second and third sets. As the Hurricanes, they were undefeated in the month of September. They rolled all bit of competition. Now, to the Hurricanes' credit, they haven't lost a set in almost an entire month. And Amanda, that resiliency, we saw it late in set 2 today.
And honestly, I'm wondering if some people are surprised. They only returned 5 of their players, of their 17 players from last year, but it's because those players were their key returners. You return your starting setter, your leading point getter, and your starting middle as well. You have these key returners that have brought this team together.
That hits the line judge, but it is out, and the timeout stops the service run for Miami. We have seen from this Wake team, you noted some sets where they've looked dominant against Duke this year. Even Carolina winning a set against a top 25 team, but then at moments losing 25-11 like in set 1. It's been up and down for Coach Holzmeier. What a block. One of the young guns, Khalees Hawkins, in there with the roof.
Hawkins now with 4 blocks. We talked about her career high performance on Friday, 10 blocks from Hawkins, and she gets another here. The freshman stepping up.
He loves her athleticism at the net, how she can press forward, Holzmeier does. Hawkins presses but doesn't finish the block. A point for Miami on the backside. Obviously, Heredia-Cologne gets a bulk of the swing load, but there is balance as well. I mean, the one with 18, but then others have stepped up and filled that void. Wilson will set it from the middle position. Ooh, that almost hits the roof. Baker forced to clear. What a dig! And Legita keeps it in play. Farrell everywhere. Njai into the block. Third time is a tip that goes south. Nice long rally for the Hurricanes.
It's a great dig by Emma Farrell. Legita trying to get that over, but Miami staying in the rally. Wow. Not only being there, being in your base and being ready, but getting that ball up and in play. Legita making the play too.
Emma Farrell, 17 digs, and we're barely into set 3. Hawkins goes in system. Wake feeding their middles here in the third set.
We talked about that Miami balance attack. They don't have to rely on Heredia-Cologne, and that's something that Wake Forest is going to need to do, diversify their offense, and that's when you need to bring in your middles. But you can only do that when you have a decent pass for a set. Getting Hawkins involved, a great sign for the Demon Deacons.
Just the 3rd point for the middles of Wake today. Walaji tight to the net, and Baker with a double touch. So Miami wins the rally point there. We haven't said Dahlia Wilson's name a ton, but her presence in the middle continues to play a factor.
4 kills, no errors on 13 total attacks. A couple aces in there. Just a constant, which is okay if you're quiet, right? As long as you're having positive plays.
In a league where Kara Kreese is looming at Louisville, an elite middle, you need players that can nullify some of that. Wilson's been great all year, and it sets up the outside hitters with Amina Njai, the true freshman out there. Because, right, Miami has the pins covered. Obviously, Heredia-Cologne takes so much of that workload. But if they're going to win a second, third round match, they have to slow down some elite hitters on the other side of the net. 1-point lead in set 3 for Miami. And Crawford will equalize. Page with her 9th kill.
Coach Holzmeier was really happy to have Paige Crawford on this team. Holzmeier obviously in his first year at Wake Forest, and said that Paige Crawford, he said, I know what I'm going to get from her every single day mentally, and that's something that's been so useful in year 1 at the helm of Wake Forest.
Crawford leading the Wake attack again today, and there's another back row swing for Miami. That South American style, everyone touches the ball here for the Hurricanes. Coach Gandara, who was an All-American middle himself at UC Santa Barbara. Met his wife Stephanie there. She was an AVP beach volleyball player and a great setter in her tenure. And Crawford 2 on the block in double figures in back-to-back matches. And if you've ever been to Santa Barbara, the Isla Vista down there, some of the best college atmosphere you're ever going to have.
Really? I've never been.
Oh, yeah. Elite. Tacos down there. Great food. Great party scene, fun place. Bellows on service, goes into the tape. One point Miami lead with Dahlia Wilson on service. Whitekettle gets some help at the net. Williams puts it away. So Wake takes advantage of the overball.
Great dig by Daniels, by Vergara, excuse me, to keep that rally alive. But it's going to be Williams with the push down. Great touch from Williams at the net.
Vergara, who grew up in Columbia, she's been all over the country. Started at Miami-Dade in South Beach, went to Youngstown State, Tennessee State, went back to junior college, and then found Miami for her 5th year. And now we have a review. We have a challenge at the end of that point. I believe the challenge was at the net to see if there was any touch or interference of the Miami player going up at the net to play it. This looks like a very quick review, though.
There has been a couple net violations. Obviously, Wake Forest really eager to try to slow this Miami team down.
So check out Williams here. Does she interfere with the net at all? Looks like we have a quick verdict. Yeah, Wake Forest wins the point. Miami with 1 challenge remaining. And more importantly, a quick challenge. Efficient. Good work by our crew with Del Rosa Hughes looking at the DVR Sport. Heredia Cologne scoops one out. And then a power touch is saved. No, that hit the floor. Crawford sold it well. And Heredia Cologne up to 19 kills.
Heredia Cologne, so dynamic. We talk about her offensive capabilities, but obviously opponents want to target her to take that pass to get her out of system, but it doesn't really work because she can do it all.
Rodriguez has a missile. Bellows plays it well at the net, and the middles of Williams with some friendly fire there. It works in system. It's all fun and games when you can feed your middles like that.
So important for the Demon Deacons right now, being able to diversify, spread out that offense against this Miami block.
Much more balanced Wake attack here in set 3. They're hitting 360 in the set. A lot of offense as we're halfway through this set. A service error will give it right back to Miami. This is a Wake team that's got a tricky slate coming up. A home and home with NC State, and then a big time battle with Georgia Tech here in 2 weeks right here in this building. Crawford flips it to the other side of the court. Njai beats the block, and Miami's won 2 straight.
Hawkins a little late to close that seam on the block. Miami does a great job of taking advantage of any weakness they see in those hands.
Remember, Miami's yet to lose a set in their 4 ACC matches. A resilient second. They were down 22-19, but Rodriguez went on a serving spree. Now it's Heredia Cologne doing the same. Williams into a double. Wake bodies are hitting the floor everywhere. A power touch kept alive on the attack from Wiley. Legata is tipped. Legata again, using the hands. Whoop, it finds the floor. Patricia Legata bringing life to the Deacons.
You got to give credit to Emma Farrell, too, being able to make that set, setting up the outside. Legata closing in. Just had to get one more try in there.
Legata at Chicago State, she was top 5 in the country in points per set. Now, a lot of that was in some long matches, and her team was struggling, but found a way to get the job done. She has the workload for Wake. There's an overball that's kept alive. No one covers the middle. Well done by Miami.
Feliciano throws her hands up. She's like, yeah, that's right. That was a bub kill.
Good look by Feliciano. And Holzmeyer having a discussion here. And a challenge from Wake Forest. So we'll take a look. We're trying to figure out exactly what's being challenged here, but let's see if we can find it. So Wake Forest challenging, well, that'd be a third touch. I thought that Holzmeyer saw something that we haven't necessarily seen yet. But more than anything, it's a timeout here for Wake to settle things in. It was a quiet first two sets for Del Rosa Hughes, and now a little more complicated here in the third as he explains the call. Oh, this can never be good when you get Suzanne Dodd involved and everyone's a part of the conversation.
Now it's a conference.
This makes me think it'll go Wake Forest's way. So there were some complications about Ariana Rodriguez's positioning and where she played a ball early in the rotation. And then the Wii Sports music just kind of puts you in the right mindset.
Yes, that
it's like I'm ready to play some Wii tennis here, and I just sit here and move my hands back and forth and start. Yeah, watch Rodriguez there coming forward. And the question is, did she play over the height of the net to touch that ball?
I don't even know she left the court. She wanted to jump, pulled back.
Okay, so this is overturned because Rodriguez played a defensive position at the height of the net. That was really tricky. There was a lot of nuance to that. But Ariana ruled for the error, and it's point Wake Forest.
Rodriguez barely up there. That's a great eye by Holzmeyer to even see that.
And Keno even saying she tipped it backwards. She didn't go up to play it. The ball came down to her. This is the nuance of the rule that can be complicated.
Rodriguez saying the same thing.
Which it does turn a 17-15, so it's a critical juncture point, too. And now we're going to double check. We see, watch Ariana's right hand. Yeah, that's the question. Is she at the height of the net? And in theory, that is in a tricky spot. You know, Miami arguing that she's playing as the ball comes down and then she tips it backwards, which is legal. She didn't try to play a blocking position above the net. So now we're adding in a fourth official. Our substitution folks down there. Oh, man. Even the fourth referee's like, I don't know about that one. This is very complicated. One, to overturn that call, right? How tight it's in between the height of the net and where Ariana played it. And now adding in our fourth official to get his expertise on what, our fifth official on what was pointed out. by Del Rosa Hughes. Are we going to do a repoint here, maybe like a jump point? This is never what you want to see. Let's see if we can get this all figured out. Okay, now Suzanne's got to come down from her table, and she's going to take a look at it. Or we could flip a coin. Yeah, and Jeff Holzmeyer's like, wait a second.
It was already decided.
Okay, now Suzanne is going to explain to Jeff, who said you had the justification to call it a touch.
I can't read lips.
You can tell how much this point means for Wake, because they're at that point where you could easily lose this match in 3. And if you win this point, it gives you some life in the 3rd.
And you know they're hurt from that second set when they really did have that opportunity to close it out. Then Rodriguez had the response from the service line. So you know this is one of those moments that you can put yourself in position. You see Wake Forest doing some jumping jacks to stay warm. A long break for these players, trying to stay moving as we have worked through the challenge and some more conversations on the court.
Oh man, we got the NCAA rule book on the table. This is when you know you've hit next level.
That's what you said last time. Like, you don't want to get to that point.
So Ariana was a back row player. She came into the front row, did touch the ball, and it's a question of, was she playing a defensive position where she was in relation to the net? Oh man. I didn't get my subsection Article 2 bullet point 7. Yeah, you could tell that even Del Rosa Hughes is confused. And then Suzanne is diving into the encyclopedia of the rule book. Would it not be better off just to call this a repoint? At some point, because you're going to frustrate one coach or another here with how this one plays.
And now the players have been just standing, waiting. Heredia Cologne dancing now. We've got the Miami bench doing the Macarena. You got to stay warm somehow.
Yeah, Dahlia Wilson's like, here's how you do it, Flo. Floor's got it covered.
Got to stay loose.
Now we have the official score involved. I'm not a referee, but we could go back to do a replay point and just call this neutral on both sides and probably save the trouble.
Which is that the best outcome for both coaches? Is that a win-win?
Okay, we have a decision. Oh, now we're looking something up on the computer. This is adding to the nuance of this whole discussion. If you had deep dive into the rule book on your Sunday afternoon plans of NCAA volleyball, I'll give you a ton of credit. Okay, here comes the verdict. Both coaches getting an explanation. Neither coach seems pleased, so I don't know if this is going to be what's going to happen, but we're keeping our director Drew busy with all these different shots he's got to mix in.
I know. So much to keep track of right now. And so much unknown to us right now, these conversations.
And Gandara claiming, no, she was in self-defense. Her hand was not playing forward at the net. She just tipped it. And then Jeff saying, well, no, she was playing at the height of the net. She was trying to block the shot. Therefore, as a back row player, she can't do that. We've seen it 100 different times. Neither coach seems pleased. A Sunday in the ACC.
I think this has to go to show how competitive the ACC is and how serious, how important every single point is in these rallies. These calls can change momentum in a game so easily, and can also drain momentum from a game with this long break.
So our fifth official remains busy. Remember, he's the referee reviewer. Drives around the country, goes to different matches, reviews the refs. He's being consulted. Okay, I think we found our answer. Both teams are getting some warm-up jumps in.
Holzmeyer still in deep discussion.
We've got an operations person heading to a closet. Everyone's doing something. So now this brings up a great point about how you respond to these moments, right? Whatever the call is.
Wake Forest bench trying to keep warm.
Oh, our friend De La Rosa